Okay, good morning, everyone. It's really good to have you back to our course, which is the Introduction to Economics. My name is Zainal Abidin, and I will be your next lecturer for the next six meetings after Miss Almira Budianto. And we got some exciting news for you. Yeah, to start with, that I'm pretty sure I have told you about who's going to be the head of the class that will work alongside me to help to coordinate you guys and maybe to share some ideas or questions and communicate with me directly. Thank you very much, first of all, Mrs. Sandy, that she's willing to help me to conduct with this head of class thing. And I'm pretty sure Miss Almira has told you about this syllabus, so we are going to skip on this one because now we are on the last two course learning objectives in which we will mainly talk about both the macroeconomics and microeconomics. And then we are actually going to start in the next, I think, 5 minutes. And before we continue, I think it is time for you to maybe you can grab your snacks if it's necessary, because I don't want to be the reason you got fainted in the classroom, and it will be a hassle for everyone. So I think it will be better if you want to grab some snacks, and it is okay for you to eat within my class as long as it's not a fully packaged meal, because that will also make me hungry. And yeah, feel free to take your beverages as well. So yeah, if you guys want to leave the classroom for grabbing some snacks, feel free to do so. Anyways, if you choose to stay here, um, I have another news for you. Since we have already been in the last six meetings, I also have some information about the final exam that will at least take two things. Yeah, the first thing that matters is the date of the final exam, in which it will happen on December 20th, 2025. And as usual, it will be at least essay essay questions, five essay questions for you to yeah, basically to answer, and based on what we've learned about these two course learning objectives, both macroeconomics and microeconomics. So in order to prepare you with that final exam, I have several things for you to actually know, that we will still use the main reference in ManQ, the Gregory ManQ books, the Principle of Economics. I'm sure you all had one already with the help of Mrs. Almira as well. But also we have another other supporting references, but mainly I will only use the first one from Mr. Nopirin, PhD, about the introduction to macroeconomics and microeconomics. So I will share you the books, yeah, because I believe we have the soft copies of this book in the library, so I will share them to you. And don't forget to um, use your Google Classroom in order to access these materials. And I think, similar to Mrs. Almira, that I want you, all of you, to install Google Classroom, because that will be our learning management system. And please, please, guys, make sure to attend all of my classes, or at least a minimum of 75%, because if you fail to do so, I'm afraid you cannot take the final exam test. And similar to that as well, I will not tolerate any cheating activities during this course. If you do it anyway, I'm sure you will get an F grade afterwards. So don't cheat, guys. Just be honest with yourself, okay? So, maybe we have some questions about the rules. If so, please raise your hands. Yeah? Okay, Danny, do you want what do you want to ask? Okay. I think if you have some events, or maybe you're feeling sick, please tell that to the head of the class and inform him, inform her about it so that I will know that you are absent. And please provide the proofs. Yeah, at least if you're actually attending a wedding ceremony, maybe you can ask your parents to make a or just give me the invitation. Yeah, but you don't have to invite me in person. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? No? I hope it's clear, yeah? Thank you very much. Okay, so let's talk about the very first material in which we will talk about the monetary policy. So I'm pretty sure that Mrs. Almira has told you about the fiscal policy last week. And from today, we will talk about the monetary policy. And I want you to know, or at least answer this question. If you have done or if you have read about fiscal policy presentation last week, I'm sure you will handle it well. So, guys, what do you think the government does to manage the economy through this fiscal policy? I will give you at least maybe 2 minutes to think about it whilst I will sip my water, please. Okay, that's 2 minutes for you. Okay, so I will just look at the names on this attendance list and ask you one by one because that will be better. And I'm sure you can handle it well. Okay, Andi Saputra. Andy, okay. What do you think, Mr. Andy? What do the government do for this policy? Mhm. So you think they're working on some sort of accumulation through what tool exactly? Budget. Okay, good. Budget. Okay, that's already enough. Well done. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you very much, Mr. Andy. So exactly like what he said, that fiscal policy in governments is actually how the governments manage their own budget to achieve economic growth. And we have already talked about the main tools as well. So these main tools that we are talking about were how do the government actually work on to tighten or to loosen their own budgets throughout their own policies with the Ministry of Finance in our case, yeah, and especially President or Congress in United States to control this tighten and losing grips within this budgeting stuff. And for the tool itself that we are using here is first of all the tax. Yeah, taxation is important in fiscal policy. So what about the next material about monetary policy? So it's different from fiscal policy because we are not only talking about the budget anymore, but also we need to talk about how do we manage the supply of the money, in which it's maybe similar to fiscal policy because both policies actually are working on to control certain items, in which in the monetary policy we are talking about the money supply. Yeah. And then the tool in order to control this money supply is using interest rates. So you need to know that the monetary policy is actually a responsibility of a country's central bank. It's different from the fiscal policy that is actually a work of the Ministry of Finance in Indonesia's case. So, in brief, we can say that the central monetary policy is actually how the central bank influence the supply of money and in order to boost the economy throughout this part. It's a hard time, yeah, such as recession or even inflationary period. And I'm pretty sure that you have heard about central banks. And central banks is basically the most important bank of them all because they are the ones who actually give us rules of the game and then to control the whole economy throughout all banks and all parties involved within the economy. And the most important one is that they control the money supply. So what are these guys doing? Maybe you may ask, and they are definitely the ones who hold the reserves of our country's money and all the wealth. And also, they need to examine it, the banks, the other banks, in order to make sure that they all are obeying the laws and regulations. So those kind of things are important for any kind of central banks, including Indonesia. In Indonesia, we have Bank Indonesia, yeah, or Bank of Indonesia, as the one to monitor the supply and the demand of money so that we can have a stable economy. So you may ask about how does monetary policy actually work? In order to for us to actually control the economy, central bank actually adjusts the supply of money through the interest rates as the main tool. So interest rate is the main tool in order for us to speed up the economy or even to slow it down. How, you may ask? So throughout this table, you can see that similar to fiscal policy, we can have both expansionary tools and contractionary tools in order to tighten or even to lose the grip of these policies. So in monetary policy, we have these three expansionary tools that we call as open market operations with purchasing bonds. Yeah, you may have heard about bonds, and then to decrease the discount rate in order to make the economy actually blooming. Yeah, so that okay, we don't really want that much money in the bank, so just let them go outside and to decrease the reserve requirements as well, so that people don't really need to save their money. They can just buy and purchase stuff. Whilst in the contrary, you can see that these three things, when you want to, and certain central bank wants to tighten the grip on the money supply, they can actually sell the bonds so that they can actually manage how much money do they actually have. Yeah. If I sell you a bond and I know that okay, you are purchasing it from me, so I know that okay, I have the money in your hands. Yeah. And then it can also increase the discount rate of the interest rate itself so that the reserve requirements also will be increased. Okay, I think that's for the content. Now you have to do this exercise. Please, if you can see the right on the right side of the screen, you can see that how to do the work. Please take a piece of paper and to prepare yourself and make sure to do to work on it on your paper and then to scan and upload it on the Google Classroom. So here's the exercise. Ask yourself, which one matters the most? Do you think that fiscal policy actually matters more than the monetary policy, or the monetary policy matters? So please give your reasonable explanations and to make sure that you need to tell us why. Why do you think this policy matters than the other one? And maybe you can add some related examples. You have at least 20 minutes to finish before the class ends, and we will discuss about it later on. Okay, any questions for the exercise? Maybe yes, Linda? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You may be as creative as possible. Just make sure there will be no plagiarism involved within this class. So yes, you may. Okay. Yes, Danny. Yeah, of course, you can use AI tools, but I will not actually tolerate any copy and paste works, because that's not how education works. Okay, you have to, in order to get education, you need to be educated. And how to be educated, you need to actually understand stuff in and actually do the work by yourself. So I would definitely encourage you to do it yourself. Okay? Okay, anything else? Okay, good. Thank you. I will be waiting for your answers, and like Donald Trump said, thank you for your attention to this matter. Thank you very much, everyone.